Hello, hello. Thank you for having me.
Blessings. Thank you for joining.
Mm.
Thank you for joining. You already teaching me something new. I didn't even know you could do this on your iPad.
Yeah, you can.
Whoa.
It's easier than my phone.
Easier.
Bigger screen.
Okay. Okay, cool. And where exactly are you right now? Where in the world are you, my friend?
I am back in the States. I'm in Washington.
Okay, beautiful. Beautiful.
Yeah, yeah. After 2 years of traveling, it feels good to be home.
Nice, nice. I've never been to Washington before, but you're saying that's your home, that's where you're from in
Not
Washington?
where I'm from, but I re-based out here in 2019. And where
Okay.
are you from? Where do you live?
So currently, I'm in the state called Texas here, down the Lone Star State on the bottom here,
Nice.
and I'm from Columbia, South Carolina, but we've been traveling as well. So you and I, we definitely enjoy the nomadic life, it seems.
Absolutely. I was raised in the Midwest, Indiana.
Okay,
So yeah.
okay, Midwest, awesome. So it's so inspiring. Like someone just down here was saying, Oliver saying, "Hey, inspired to go to my first fasting."
Ooh.
So they're already kicking things off, but I really just wanted to learn a little bit more about your story, more about your journey. We see your smiling face in all these different places. We
Mm.
see your beautiful energy in all these different spaces. And yeah, just love to learn more about, what you're passionate about, what you feel purposeful for you these days. And actually, what do your friends call you? What is the name that your friends most use when they're calling you?
We either get Sierra or Sun Kitty.
Okay, Cierra.
Yeah.
How do you spell
Or just
Sierra?
Cierra.
Got it.
Yeah.
Got it.
Or
Okay.
kitty or any type of kitty. Yeah. A lot of times I'll be like dressed up as a cat and yeah, I just love the felines, all the kitty cats. So I definitely embody that.
Beautiful. You definitely do. I have my cat here right now.
Ooh.
Neo's over here. Neo, he's a new kitten
Oh
right now
cute.
here. Yeah, hey Neo. He wants to climb up here.
I love Neo. Cutie.
He's a little shy. He's a little camera shy. But
Nice. I love that.
he just, came into my life not too long ago. But it was just by, I mean, I don't want to say by coincidence or by chance, because, we don't really believe in that. But it was really a divine encounter. I mean, you know, the 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 odds of me finding him the way that I found him were just so slim, that it had to be destiny. So
Absolutely.
yeah, definitely. So Sierra, when you're talking about how Cierra became Sun Kitty, when did that happen? When did Cierra become Sun Kitty?
I would say kind of like in 2020, yeah, just within like sparking more of my essence. I just got to thinking like, okay, like if take away like the name I was given, if I was to give myself a name, what would it be? Like, and I just thought about like what are my favorite things in the world, which are cats and the sun. Like I've always like grew up in the sun, and so I just like boom, Sun Kitty.
Okay.
And also like it just also goes back into like, woo, I feel like I'm also like Sekhmet as well. So it's like, ooh, it's perfect alignment.
Okay. And for somebody who's never heard that, Sekhmet, that sounds almost like, is that Egyptian?
Yeah, Egyptian, one of the Egyptian gods, kind of like Hathor, Sekhmet. Like it would be like the lioness with like the horns. Yeah.
Okay. Because I've heard of Hathor. I think I've heard of her being like almost like a goddess of like fertility or maybe like different. Am I on the
Yeah,
right track here?
yeah, they're all kind of the same entity, but different. I don't know. It's like the same person, but the person's like five different people. If that kind of makes sense. But like Sekhmet is like Hathor is more like ones with I don't know how to describe her face, but supposedly she can transform into Sekhmet, and I feel very channeled into that, which is like um Sekhmet is here to destroy, to get like kind of like Kali, like to burn, to get rid of the old destruction for growth. And my last name is Slaughter, which is also the same thing, here to like slaughter the shadows with the rainbow.
Okay. Slaughter. Yeah, I saw that slogan, slaughter the shadows with the rainbow,
Yeah,
almost
slaughter
almost
love.
like kill them with kindness.
Yeah, exactly.
Wow. So, if somebody didn't really know like the differences between these, the gods and goddesses, like you mentioned like Kali, and I hear about Vishnu and Shiva and Shakti and different ones in the Hindu traditions, the Hindu religions. What do you feel is the main differences between the Egyptian ones that you felt so drawn to, that you felt like a gravitational pull towards these Egyptian goddesses?
I would just say the fact that like Sekhmet is a cat, like a cat form, like woman, and also like a woman.
Hmm.
I just feel like really gravitating towards, yeah, just like the feline energy, is so present, which I also feel connected to, like Kali the Destroyer, but like being a lion with, like, I don't know, fires on a sword, like just slaying, like that's definitely more me versus Kali with, like, yeah, like, I don't know, multiple arms.
Right,
I'd
right,
rather be that cat.
right. Did you have a lot of cats growing
I
up?
grew up with cats, yeah, always with a cat.
Oh, you said always.
Always had a cat. Currently, right now, I don't have a cat, but always had a cat. Oh, I do at my mom's, but that's Indiana. But yeah, always grew up with a cat.
Okay, okay. So maybe you can give me some advice. What would you say are like maybe just like two or three pointers that I should know about, maintaining this little one here?
Maintaining, I just lots of love. Like, I don't know, like I always, like, spend time with your cat every single day.
Okay,
Just getting to know them, talk to them. Yeah, just spend time with them,
for
play with
sure.
them. Like, there's nothing. I would say cats are so self-efficient. It's like it just naturally all happens.
Yeah, yeah. So
Keep
self-sufficient.
the litter box clean every day. Make sure you're cleaning the litter box every day. That's one of my biggest pet peeves with the cat. Like, cleaning the box every day.
Yeah, yeah. So just maintain, but yeah, he's definitely very self-sufficient, very autonomous. He can take care of himself. I don't have to worry about him too much. So I love that actually. I
Yeah,
love that aspect. You know.
independent.
Yeah, very independent. And you seem so as well. You seem like you can carry your own, you're in these places, they're just all over the world, but it seems like you're okay being in solitude. Like
Yeah,
you're okay being in your own isolation. Is that true?
absolutely.
Okay.
Like, that was, but the biggest reason why I had to come home was actually to find like deep solitude again,
Mm.
because within the traveling, it was really hard to juggle this, like, divine, I don't know, this is where you're going with the pranic lifestyle versus also traveling. It was really hard to actually balance it, find a balance with it all, because you're interweaving with so many different energies and catching into other people's minds and how hungry they are.
Mm.
Oh my god, I was like, I'm eating when I'm not even hungry. Like, what are you doing? This is like, I just kept thinking, I want to go home. I want to go back to where I was thriving, where I was like so aligned with myself and God, and like where my path was going. But I do know, like, everything happens for a reason, and it really, like, okay, this was a way to me to humble myself, to really connect how other people feel in this world, because I can never relate how people have this relationship to food. I didn't get it. I didn't understand it. Well, I do now. I understand it now from the traveling. So that was really beautiful. But yeah, isolation is key for me. Independency, and yeah.
Okay. So that's let's unpack that. That's a whole, I love how you just go straight in there, Sierra. I love that. So when it comes to the chronic lifestyle, what were your understandings, before 2020, before 2019, that you've come into new understandings today when it
Wow.
comes to like the chronic lifestyle, food addiction, all these restrictions, afflictions, and constrictions, like everything. What have you found today that you had no idea of?
Everything. So I actually learned about breatharianism in October 2021. It came to me in a dream, like the most vivid dream that I can still, like, remember so detailed. And I woke up thinking, like, did I dream? Is this real life? I was so confused because it was so real. So that's when it happened. Was I was in Forks, Washington, actually, where Twilight is based out of. Like, that's where it happened, this dream. And I just thought, whoa, that is wild, that is crazy, and just like let it be. November of 2021, I met this girl. Her name is Emily. We were eating fruit, talk about fruitarian. I was like, that's ridiculous. She was like, well, if you think that's ridiculous, hear about breatharianism. And I was like, that's crazy. That's not real. Like, whatever. Like, that's the most absurd thing I've ever heard in my life. And I just I just didn't think it was real. So I didn't think about it again. And it's funny because like 2 days later, do you know who Devon is, the Black Airbender?
Yeah, Devon.
So
Yeah.
I happened to meet him at one of these Miami parties, and I didn't know who he was or what he was doing. So I'm like, whoa, correlations now. And then April of 2022, guy like sat me down, was like, remember breatharianism? Learn, learn, learn. So for like 2 weeks, I learned as much as I could, watched every YouTube video. I started following people that were like on this path and like just started learning and like tapping into my own essence. And then like the serendipities of the signs just like lining up. So 2019 and 2019 2000 in 2019 I wasn't even vegan, you know. I thought like I would never give up dairy. Like so like 2020 happened, and yeah, I was eating quite healthy. I didn't really eat so much meat, but I still loved dairy. So my grandma, I ended up taking care of my grandma before she died, and just like watching her like decline, and like her being the most vibrant person in my life, like super active, like riding her bicycle, hiking 20 miles, like like eating the healthiest I knew in Indiana, like healthiest fridge. And I was like, how did this woman die? So like when she died, I just sat down and started doing a lot of like videos about health and the human body, and I was like, whoa, I'm going vegan. And then I went traveling, and that kind of trickled away. But then when I came back from traveling, I was like, I have to remember when I felt my best, my lightest, my most vibrant, and that was eating. Yeah, going back to veganism. And then this was August, July, August, yeah, around then. And then this is 2021, so then a few months later, that's when the breatharianism popped in. Okay. And then ever since then, it's just like been this like, oh yeah, I gotta do this. Wow. And I actually went to the Breatharian festival in Italy last summer. Yeah. Because I started to like, my mom couldn't understand me. A lot of people can't understand me, what I'm talking about. They think you're kind of a little crazy. So I was like, I gotta connect with these people in real life. Like, how much are their stories vibrating at a truth to me? Like, through online, it feels like truth. So let me go see them in person. So that's what I did last summer. And yeah, I still believe it. There was so many stories that were just like, these people are not lying.
Wow. Wow. So your truth, it spoke to you in a way that it connected, like you resonated, it reflected.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, absolutely.
Beautiful, Cierra, beautiful. And thank you for that testimony. You know, when you were talking about like, because I mean, it can't ever be easy seeing a loved one, a family member passing and watching their gradual decline and seeing them, you know,
5 months.
Right, say it again?
It was 5 months. I watched her like, yeah, decline over 5 months. It was wild.
Right, right. And when you say it was wild, like what do you feel was the wildest thing about it? Like what did it teach you about us as, you know, as human beings? What did it teach you about life in general? What did it teach you about this existence and like the gift of life?
Mm. It taught me a lot. More like, yeah, don't be bitter. Like if you know, when God like calls upon that time to transcend to the other side, don't be bitter. Be open. You know, be open with more of a like. My grandma was quite closed off. Like anytime I try to like you could tell like it was like crazy how much it was, like month by month and then week by week and day by day and then hours, like how her decline happened. And you know, towards like I would say the midway point, I was like, oh snap! Like my grandma's like, this is like she only has like maybe 2 months to live. I started asking her more questions, like I mean, you know, like I want to know more about like your childhood, and like she was really closed off. Like she was so defensive, she didn't even want to answer the questions. So like really just having like more of an open heart through the transition, and you know, be more open to talk to your loved ones about what's happening, because like we just had to pretend it wasn't happening. I just had to pretend it wasn't happening.
Wow.
And so I didn't have anyone to talk to, and then I just had to pretend it wasn't happening when it was happening. It was just like this weird situation. But it was really wild to see her like yeah, just like the last 2 weeks maybe of her life. Before like I would say 1 week she kind of like not there, but like the week that she was kind of still there, like she would just like stare off and be like, "Grandma, what's going on? Like, why are you like zoning out?" She was like, "There's bugs everywhere." So like I literally had these experiences where she was transcending, like she was half here and half into the other world. It was really interesting, and she was going back and forth between these different worlds, and it was weird, really amazing to experience, to show you this is also right before like my magic like really unlocked. So this is like right before like the magic unlocked, and I was like, whoa, magic is real, like she is going to the other dimensions. And this is before like I had my like boom breakthrough through the matrix, you know. So like this was like the teeter-tottering point, and actually like I think her death was definitely a catalyst for everything that I am to become and am.
Wow. Jeez. Super powerful, super powerful. So you're saying like it was a gift for you to have that 5 months with your grandma, like for you to have that time in so many ways, it seems like such a blessing, you know,
Yeah,
for her to not only have you there in her time of need, going through that transition, but also for you to realize that there was more than you ever realized.
yeah,
Okay, okay. Because when you're talking about, having to dissociate in the moment of what is happening, you know it's happening, but you're trying to act like it's not happening. And then she's also seeing things that are beyond the veil. Like
yeah,
she's being able to peek beyond what we know as the physical realm. She was seeing past this realm into another realm, and you were there to see it.
yeah,
Okay.
to witness it. And that was like, whoa, magic is definitely real. Or like,
Right.
mm-hmm.
Amazing. Amazing. So you said during this time, it was that you started watching certain videos or certain content, because I myself, just full disclosure about me, I was raised on everything as well. I was raised eating everything, raised, full carnivore, like everything there was really not too much that was off limits. And my whole family still eats that
Yeah,
way. They look at me the way that I, consume things today. They think I'm crazy. They
same.
really think that I've lost my mind. Just the way that I live today, and the things that I do, the way that I kind of maneuver throughout the matrix, they think it's impossible, but clearly I'm doing it. So they're like, okay, maybe he just knows something, or maybe, he just found something that we're not aware of, but they're not inclined to stop eating at any point in time. So when it came to letting go of animals and animal products and animal flesh and animal anything, that was through a documentary I watched called Earthlings.
Okay.
And watching that documentary, that moved me along. But it seems like you watched different things. What was it that you watched that gave you the push or the motivation to break away from those beliefs, or from how you'd been living up until that point?
I have not, I think I've seen you post about Earthlings, but I have not seen that one. But mine was What the Fork.
Okay.
I watched What the Fork and I was like, yo, I'm done. Like I went to my refrigerator and I used to eat 2 tubs of ice cream every single week. Like that was like my go-to. Like I don't care. Like, I'm having my ice cream every single night. I went to my refrigerator, brand new 2 tubs of ice cream. I went, grabbed them, and just threw them in my trash can. I was like, done, done, and I've never ate ice cream
Wow.
since. So
Wow.
What the Fork, and I'm trying to think of the other ones. I think What the Health, but What the Fork was like the one that was like a pushing one. And like the Avocado Man, I forgot his real name, but
You
like
mean Avocado Wolf?
yes.
Okay.
I
Okay.
also watched him
David
on Gaia.
David
Yes,
Wolf?
yes, David Wolf, that's his name. I watched him on Gaia, and that was also like really inspiring. Um, yeah.
Yeah.
Which
Shout out.
I actually met him in person back in 2021. Uh,
Nice.
so that was interesting. Yeah.
Awesome. Awesome. Shout out to Avocado Man.
Yeah.
Avocado Man.
And What the Fork, whoever made those documentaries.
Yeah. So what did he impress upon you when you met him? What did David Wolf impress upon you when you encountered?
It was really interesting because, him being vegan and super this, I think this kind of like links into like the breatharianism a little bit. You know, with him being vegan and all about the superfoods, you know, he didn't seem like he reflected it very much. And I was like, what's going on here? Like, and there's another vegan woman here that was also very, like we talked about it earlier, like we were so excited to meet him because he was both like inspirational for us to become vegan. And we both had this like equal mindset that his reflection of what he's known for didn't seem to be matching. It didn't seem to be matching. So then I was like, well, and then like once I learned about breatharianism, I was like, I reflected about him. I was like, you know, raw vegan, superfoods, not reflecting very well what's going on there. Maybe it's because like his soul wanted him to take him even further and he stopped himself. So that's where I'm like kind of like, you know, maybe there is a further evolution to keep you to going.
Okay.
To the limit of possibilities.
Okay.
But you know,
Okay.
it was nice just to, like I didn't really talk to him so much. I just had like a, you know, thank you. I just told him thank you so much for your videos. They really like
Right.
sparked me, and that was about it. You
Right.
know.
I'm also, you know, grateful and equally thankful for people that they were putting out testimonies and recounting different realizations and putting themselves and putting out positive vibration online before I ever knew or discovered, you know, things like liquidarian and pranic living and living on light and living on less and, you know, just pranic living in general. I never knew these things before 28. You know, before I was 28 years old, I had lived up until that point never knowing that I even had a choice.
Right.
You know, thinking that I didn't even have an option to not eat. Like that's an option?
Did you?
I didn't even know that was an option.
Right. I didn't know until that girl told me, and then God was like, "Sit down and learn." I was like, "What is going on?"
Right.
But I have to say, like growing up, like I was always weird, like about food. Like there's a lot of times where I would skip lunch at school and just like eat one meal a day. So I was naturally, and like this is where it's like, okay, how does breatharianism feel within me? Like, okay, like I go back to like my childhood, like how did I feel with it as a child? Did I ever ask my mom for meals? Not really. No, she always had them. Hey, come on, like stop playing, let's eat. And like if I thought about like I rather play than eat. And like I was so much, I wasn't even hungry, but you know, it was like chicken nuggets and mashed potatoes, you know, like it was like, and I didn't eat any real food growing up either. Like it was all fake processed food. And then it's like, okay, well, I sit back, it's like, well, how did I grow? If I didn't eat any real food, then how am I here in a beautiful vessel without eating any real food growing up? Like it doesn't make any sense. So what am I really nourished on?
Exactly.
Like I said, I was in the sun a lot. So yeah.
Exactly. I love how you deduced it. You know, you use your deductive reasoning, you know, like Sherlock Holmes. You're thinking, you're like, you know, you're like putting two and two together. You're fitting the pieces of the puzzle. You're like, wait a minute, how am I here? Wait, how did I get here? Like, that doesn't make sense, and that doesn't make sense, and that, you know, you're like, really, the questions are the answer, right?
Yeah. And you gotta think about when you're a child, that's when you're the closest from the spiritual side. That's the closest of your essence you are from like who you really are and why you, and that's the closest you are to the mission why you came to Earth. Like you come here like kind of like Men in Black. You've been like you've been black-sided, you know, like you don't know what you're doing, but you know you're doing something, but it's up to you to remember. So that's what it is. It's like I just go and like just like think about that and then coming here and then yeah, it's a journey.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. It's a journey, it's a learning, you know. It's I love that analogy, Cierra, of the Men in Black, you know, that deneuralizer. They called it in the movie, they called it the deneuralizer.
Okay.
You know, they used to have this thing, they would be like, and then they would flash it in front of you and it would just blind you and then you would forget what, you know, you'd forget that there was an alien invasion that just took place right in front of you, right? You would forget that there was a whole galactic federation that was just here in this baseball field, and now you're just, okay, what y'all want to eat? What do y'all want to do? You know, it just completely went blank. So that Men in Black, yeah, that definitely, it does feel like there's been a mass hypnosis, and I was under that same programming.
Same.
You know, I was under the same hypnosis. I was under the same illusions of thinking that I need this to exist, I need this to survive. If I don't have enough of this, I'm gonna die, you know?
Yeah.
And that was, I mean, that was so embedded in my mind that I didn't know that there was anything more. So when I discovered that there was something more, there was even more than I could even have ever imagined, it was like, wow, like the only limitation is my imagination, you know? How far do you want to go?
Oh,
Yeah.
I want to fly. I am flying. I am flying. I know that's possible in this lifetime, so I'm gonna achieve it.
Yeah.
Yeah, I can
Yeah,
relate.
absolutely. Absolutely. So with people, if nobody's ever seen What the Health or even What the Fork, because you said What the Fork was the thing that really gave you that push and that propelled you, it was the catalyst to you changing your consciousness when it came to your consumption. What
Yeah.
would you say to people who haven't watched What the Fork? Why would you recommend it to somebody?
I haven't watched it since 2020, but because I could wherever I watched it on, I feel like I watched it on Gaia, and then like when I went to rewatch it, like they took it off or something. But it was just so relatable. I don't like have anything like really in my mind like that was that. I just know that was my turning point. But it was just like super relatable, and like everything that they were preaching and talking about on What the Fork was like yes, that's truth. Yes, like I think they were going in and like showing like dairy farms and chickens and stuff, and I was just like, yeah. And it's like there's so many things that we don't see when it's what the energy's really coming into us, and it's just like that's wild. And this also just sparked something in me because I'm not like full on breatharian. I'm living off the prana situation. I'm still consuming physical food mostly through liquids, like more like raw vegan, but mostly liquids, mostly fruit, but yeah, mostly anyways. So I'm having a hard time like getting rid of the nuts. Like I feel like a hardcore craving for nuts 24/7. I'm like, damn, like I just want to get away from these suckers. Like I don't know what their pull is on me. So anyways, so I started like looking up, like, okay, see, like what's like let's see where these nuts are coming from. So I started Googling these companies that I'm buying these nuts from. I'm like, this is the energy you're consuming, this company. So where's it coming from?
Mhm.
So I started Googling it, and it's like these macadamia nuts that I eat. I think sun sun tree nuts, I think that it's called. Anyways, they have photos of like this like big machinery where I guess all the nuts are coming through. I'm looking at these photos and I'm like, I don't know, like this is actually kind of weird. Like it's coming through all these machines, these conveyor belts. You can tell like these are probably like the cleanest this area probably looks like because they know they're getting a photo shoot for their thing. And I'm like, it doesn't even like the photos. I'm energetically like I can sense things. I'm like, these photos don't even feel clean to me, even though they probably that's supposed to be their cleanest. Like I don't know, and it just kind of like creeps me out. Like, and you think about it, like in real life, on a job, like if these nuts fell on the ground, do you think they're like I don't know, like you think I don't know, like I'm just thinking like it's probably not sanitary as we want it to be. And it just has me really question these nuts. And then even like these nuts are like it's like the matrix is starting to pull the illusions away because sometimes when I'm eating these nuts, I'm like, dang, these taste like plastic. And then I'll eat another one, I'm like, no, they're good. And then I'm like, eat another one, I'm like, oh, they kind of taste like plastic again. And I'm like, what is going on? And then like, it's this really weird illusion. Have you ever been to Meow Wolf?
No.
No, okay. There's a few Meow Wolves and through
What
America,
is that?
and they're amazing. They're like these like super like creativity, imagination like rooms that you go into, but there's also like these things that you can like. So it's like free, but like if you want to do like more in depth cool things inside this Meow Wolf, it's kind of like not an amusement park because it's just like this huge like warehouse, kind of like imagination and like cool neon stuff. Anyways, I went to the one in Vegas, and I decided to do like the grocery something that was like you have to do the grocery store experience, and I was like okay. And you see like on the outside of the grocery store, it's like what is what I'm trying to think of there's one like there's like peanut butter. It's like and it's so basically it's like peanut butter, and they have like toilet paper, and they have like I don't know meat and all these like different things at the grocery store. And like the peanut butter was like you know, clog your arteries. So basically it was like all these like food items, and like it was like telling the truth of what they're really doing to your body. And you go inside the grocery store and it looks like a real store. Like you can actually buy a lot of the products there and eat them and drink them. But a lot of them are fake, and they're saying like, you know, like this is toxic. I don't know. I can't. But you know what I mean? Like it just says all these like different labels of what the truth is of these products. And as I'm walking through this Meow Wolf grocery store, breatharianism's kicking in. It's like, this is real life.
Wow.
No grocery store is actually real. They're all just fake labels in this illusionary game that we're playing. Just like this store is a fake one, but it's not. This is all grocery stores. So now when I go into the grocery stores, I'm having like nothing seems real situation, and like I'm grabbing things and I want to put them back, and it's like I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
It's different tangents, but yeah.
No. You're right on point. You're right on point. Like, you're right on time, Cierra, because that was what I felt when I saw those videos. You know, when I saw what was going on the dairy farms, when I saw what was going on in the slaughterhouses, when I saw like those hidden cameras and the footage that, you know, they would never televise, like they would never show that to us. And that definitely wasn't what we learned growing up in school. You know, that wasn't what was stressed. That wasn't what was prioritized. But when I saw that stuff, it was really, it was shocking. You know, it was shocking to, you know, my childhood, my youth, my inner child that had consumed all that stuff, all that content. So when I went into grocery stores after that, I just looked around. I thought I was seeing dead bodies. Everywhere I
Yeah.
looked, it was like dead bodies, dead body, dead carcass. This is a carcass. This is dead, decaying flesh is just dressed up and packaged. You know, this is neatly packaged, decaying flesh.
Even
A
if it's
being that,
organic, grass fed, it is still like an innocent animal packaged up. I don't care how pretty they make that package.
right,
It's literally dead flesh.
right, right.
And as we were talking, it reminded me, what the hell? There was a segment where it shows, I think, beef. I can't remember. Anyways, I think it was beef, but it shows like this, like they had like a big abscess on this meat.
Mhm.
So they went in there and just like poked it and like squished it all out, like oozing pus. I think I posted on my Instagram actually, but it was like all this pus, like a big, and they're like, this is normal. And like the guy that's like working, he's like, this happens every single day, and we push this meat on out. And I'm just thinking, oh my god, I was like,
Yeah,
ugh. I
yeah.
can't.
It's crazy, crazy. So a little bit before you were saying, Sierra, that, you know, when you were looking at some of these pictures and some of these places where you were like, this is nuts. You know, you're looking at all these nuts and you're like, this is nuts. You know, this is crazy. And you said you saw certain things that it was just like the energy, you know, you felt the energy of it and the energy was
Yeah.
off, you know, the energy was a little off kilter. Have you always been sensitive when it came to energy? Like, have you always been an energy worker, an energy perceiver, an energy, you know, being when it comes to different energies? Have you always been that sensitive?
Yeah, like when so like yes, but no.
Okay.
So like growing up, like I always, yeah, super sensitive and knowing, and just like stay away from this but grab that. And like even like shopping, like even if there's 10 bags of like apples, I'm gonna pick, like if I grab one that doesn't feel right, I'm gonna grab a different one. And I always thought it was just like weird that I would always do this, even with clothes.
Right.
I might, there's, you know, all the same shirts, but no, this one doesn't feel right, so I'll go to this different one. So I always did this, but I didn't understand it because I grew up in Indiana where, like, you know, yoga wasn't even like a thing until I was like 18. Like no one even talked about yoga. So like, I mean, we talked about nothing. Like it was just straight like farming town, like matrix to the max.
Right.
Like nothing spiritual. Maybe they do believe in ghosts. I don't know. Like, you know, like I didn't. There was a whole like. So once I left, it was really, yeah. I left for New Zealand, and a lot of things opened up in my mind when I went there. I lived there for a year, and a lot of things opened
Okay.
up.
Okay.
So like once I spiritually woken up like completely in 2020, that is when I started like, oh my god, like my whole life makes sense.
Okay.
So no, like I was doing it all as a child, just didn't know what I was doing the whole time. And then 2020 is like, boom, it all makes sense now. And then like, just like, whoa, I've been just like really like working this inner compass and knowing and magic and et cetera, and
Yeah.
super energy sensitive. Like that's what I'm saying. Like I can look at just someone's like profile on Instagram and be like, no, or yes, like like this is like how the breatharianism was like, yes, this is all vibrating at truth.
Hmm.
And then like diving deeper within myself with all of it.
Wow. Wow. Really following your intuition, following your inner knowing, your inner guidance,
God,
it's like your inner knowing is glowing,
yeah,
and
yeah,
it's continually growing. So when you're following where that inner compass is going, where the inner compass is guiding and providing for you and igniting within you, like when you went to New Zealand, you spent a year there. What
yeah.
did you find in New Zealand that you could have never found in Indiana?
Oh, wow, so much. Just like I stayed out, like I went to the city, but I mostly stayed out of like the big cities. But the biggest thing was you go to the grocery store and like for one, the eggs aren't refrigerated. They're just like sitting there. The cheese isn't orange, bright orange and stuff. It's all white. And the meat, like all the meat and stuff comes from like New Zealand. Like they're not importing a lot. They're doing it all in their own little country, They're actually exporting most of their stuff out. So just like I went there and a lot of people, eat a lot of like fresh veggies and fruits. It's not like at least in Indiana, like where it's just junk food and fakeness. I didn't actually have my first strawberry, blueberry, or raspberry until I was 23, right before I left for New Zealand, actually. Yeah, so this is what I'm saying. Like, I really came a long way. So then when I got to New Zealand, I was like, okay, like my rule with traveling was try everything. It doesn't matter if you don't eat. Cause I didn't eat vegetables, or fruits. So my rule with traveling was I'm only here once. Try everything. So that's what I did when I went to New Zealand. I started eating all the fruits and veggies and just like really seeing how like and things are very very simple. We don't have 20, 30 different tries, different things of cheeses. Like it was just like I don't know. Like I had like 4 or 5 options of cheese, and they were all white, like white cheese.
Okay.
So basically, just like tapping into like the how much stuff is real. Like I ate and like peanut butter. There was no like peanut butter was just peanuts and maybe salt. Like it wasn't filled with sugar and all these additives. And I was like,
Yeah.
this is where also a lot of things started, like I said, churning when I lived in New Zealand was how things were so pure there. That I just never saw that and where I was raised. I was like, this is wild. I was like, what are they doing to us? Even the peanut butter is killing us.
Yeah.
And just like yeah, slower place of living and like definitely more of like the communities like the islands. There's 2 islands in New Zealand. They're both really sweet people, and yeah, mostly just like seeing how like pure the grocery stores are compared to America.
Absolutely. Absolutely. They always talk about the differences, even looking at the labels and looking at the ingredients and just comparing and contrasting, in the UK versus the US.
Mm-hmm.
It's a night and day difference between, like you said, all the added chemicals, all the additives and all the extra things, the flavorings, the colors, the everything that's kind of put into these things. I mean, it's completely toxic, It makes you feel like it makes it feel very sinister. It honestly makes it feel very intentional because,
Oh yeah.
when you, like you're saying, when you're experiencing what had to have felt like a whole different reality, a whole new world,
Mm-hmm.
and it was just right over there, but they're just doing things so differently. It felt like they minimized, it simplified things to the basics, to the basic ingredients versus all the things that we find here in the States in abundance that we take it so normal. It's so normalized. We
So
don't even think
normal.
about it. Yeah. We don't
You
even
don't,
think
yeah,
about
exactly. Don't even think about it. You just think, why would anyone try to hurt me? Why would my own country try to hurt me? Like, no way. They couldn't. They wouldn't. Psh. And I actually have like like kind of maybe like a download or just like what I think is why USA is so heavily toxic in everything. If we take I'm pretty sure like USA is the most free country of them all, like true liberty, like true freedom of like speech, of rights. Like a lot of people are still governed by their government, like can't have firearms or their speech is not as free. So anyways, any soul that decide to come to be born in America, they're coming as like basically a born as a free soul. And basically for so like they have less, I'm gonna say like soul wise, they kind of have like less limitations. I don't know how to describe it exactly, but less limitations versus other countries. And God, remember, God is playing this game against himself. Like he is everything and everyone. So he's playing the game against himself. So it's like, okay, so if the people that are born in America are the most free, then I am going to trick them and see if they're going to get past all my illusions, all my tricks, all my yeah, all the mazes that he puts within America, because a lot of countries don't have what we have, but our influence is now being pushed across other nations, which is another issue. But that's the reason why I think like America is so, yeah, so heavily toxic. God's
Yeah,
playing a game against himself.
that is a great, and I mean, you know, that perspective, I haven't heard that so often, you know, with that perspective, but I resonate because, you know, I do see the things that are pushed. Like I've been to Italy and I've seen McDonald's in Italy. I've seen, you know, different things in other places, in other spaces that feel like they don't even belong there. You know, like what is this even doing there? So when I was in Las Vegas as well, it really, you brought me down memory lane earlier, Cierra, when you were talking about being in Las Vegas and being in Meow Wolf and, you know, looking at these things that were clearly telling you what they were. Like they weren't even trying to hide the fact that, you know, they were debilitating for the body. I
Mm.
remember seeing like signs in Las Vegas, and it was like a big illusion. It was like a big Wizard of Oz in Las Vegas where, you know, there was a sign, I think there was a place called Mirage, and there was an ad or a billboard that said, it's okay, indulge. You know,
Yeah.
it's okay, you know, eat as much as you want, do as much as you want. Like, it's okay, you know, indulge, treat yourself. It's
Yeah.
good. Like you deserve it type thing, you know?
Yeah.
You felt that vibe?
Yo, oh yeah, it's like literally just do it all. You only live once. You're only in Vegas once. What happened? Like in the saying, what happens in Vegas stays in Vegas. Just yeah, over consume, consume, consume. Like that is
That,
definitely what they're doing there.
that was the message. It was like, you know, just over consuming, just overconsumption was, it was idolized, it was endorsed, it was encouraged, it was enforced, you know, just the overconsumption. And, you know, I believe Nabiha is saying maybe the idea of being free is also an illusion. I wonder what you'd have to say about that. She says, I never understood people say that USA is more free than other countries. Any country that has a government is not free to me. Do you have anything to kind of say to that, Nabiha down here?
And so say hi. And I think we are born free. I don't think free is an illusion. I think that is our birthright. And then God, it's not that something changes up. God changes, God, it's like we have wings. We are born free, to born to fly, but God closes those wings off to see if he can escape. Like he wants to play. He wants to play. He's playing against himself. And it's, if you're up in the rainbows and you have, which he's already had, like if you go back into like ancient times, he kind of like had the whole world to himself and it was dominated and it was beautiful and blissful. So he's like, okay, this gets, after a while maybe it got boring, so because he wants to experience everything on this, in this, everything that's possible. So he's like, okay, let's go down to the deeper depths, and that's where we're at now. I think we were born free, unshackled, and USA being more free than other countries. Yeah, I absolutely, I've been to over 30 countries. And yeah, USA, I used to really dog USA a lot. I didn't want to be anything a part of it. Traveling to a lot of countries shows me like, yeah, we do have a lot of freedom and the ability to do a lot more than other countries. Now I see these other countries where they have a lot less and are a lot happier, and but guess what? They are kind of stuck in a box. They can't really escape this box, but they're more free, more happy, but they're kind of like in this box where like it's going to be very hard for them to ever escape. In America, it's quite easy to escape your box. You can get ahead in life quite easily, I think, in America compared to a lot of other countries, because yeah, a lot of countries don't have that opportunity. And yeah.
Okay, okay, Sierra. So thank you for your honesty. You know, having been to over 30 countries and, you know, just seeing the ins and outs of different walks of life, different people from different upbringings, different customs, different cultures, different countries,
different
different continents,
religion.
right? You know, to be able to compare and contrast and say that, you know, thank you for that testimony, because, you know, it's not always spoken about, it's not always talked about, but it is kind of generalized, it is kind of assumed, and it is kind of, you know, just hypothesized, you know, when it comes to like who's really happy, you know,
Yeah.
who's really living, you know, that life. So you say in certain places they might have less, but they might be happier, they might have less stress, they might have less things, but you said that there's still a box, there's still something that's locked in a box. So when it comes to freedom and, you know, specifically food freedom, what we people call pranic living, the energy that's giving, how did you start breaking out of the box? What were some of the stories that you heard during the pranic festival that really inspired you, you know?
Yeah, to break out, like, I would say just my inner compass, but then within the traveling on the in the Breatharian retreat, the one that sparked me the most was Rocky. Do you know who Rocky
Rocky
is?
Rocky Chari, that's my mentor. She's my mentor.
Okay,
Yeah, yeah.
beautiful. So her story was the most inspiring to me because it was the most
Wow.
relatable. Um, because like she talked about how her journey started within yoga.
Right.
My journey started within yoga, and how she went through this like long battle of, you know, of like breaking through the illusion and like thinking there was no, like, I think she talks about how like there, like she felt like she didn't know how she was ever going to get through this hurdle or like this breakthrough, and like how it would kind of go down and then back up type of situation. And like I just, the whole time she was talking, it like actually brought me to tears, and it was just like I felt so relatable because I was like, I don't know how I'm going to get through, I just know I will. And so her story was really inspiring. There was another man, I don't know his name, but he has like blonde hair and he had like a short ponytail. I still don't know his name. And he's like really blue
Was,
eyes.
was
He
it
was kind of,
Gaston? Short hair. You said
he kept it
ponytail.
like in a little ponytail. It wasn't a long, it was like a, it was a little, it was a
Okay.
ponytail.
Okay.
Anyways, his talk was also really inspiring because like what he was saying was just like so believable and like vibrating at such a truth. I really enjoyed it. He was a little, I would say a little harsh, but it was also just the truth. He was just like not maybe saying it in the most compassionate way, but he was also really amazing.
Okay.
And yeah, it was really inspiring just to listen to all these different testimonies. And oh, there's another lady. She's from Czech Republic, I think, or yeah, Czech Republic. She she has like blonde hair to her shoulders, really crystal blue eyes, and she doesn't. She has a little bit of water and a little and maybe a coffee a day, but no food. And she's actually dating someone that is like a normal Matrix man that eats 3 times a day.
Wow.
Do you know who that is?
Uh, no, no.
Her okay, her story, like she was so vibrant. She's like in her 60s, and her eyes, I was just like so memorized. She was so like boom boom. And then she also like her story was so really beautiful and inspiring, especially because you know she started dating like a normal, I don't know, like a normal man, you know, someone that eats. So you know she was like, she goes, she hadn't had a relationship in like, I don't know, a long time, years. And she'd been calling this in, and then he came, and she was like, oh my goodness, he's now on the pranic living path. And anyway, she decided like, you know, like why not try food with him, you know, this is an experience to have with him. So she says she tried it for a few months and her body was just like, no no no, like just a lot of digestive problems. So she went back to not eating. And um and so it was really cool to like hear the story of her as well, and like how she went like on a 5-day hike, you know, where you hike camp, and she didn't eat at all, like because she's just fully pranic. And that was just like, whoa, mind blowing,
Wow.
because I do a lot of physical activity and it's like it's something I don't want to get rid of. So finding this balance of that,
Absolutely.
so it was really
Absolutely.
cool. But Rocky, yes, I love that that's your mentor.
Yeah. Yeah, and I remember you even you had shot me a DM back then, or we were DMing each other back and forth when you were at the Pranic World Festival, and you were talking about like there were people there that were telling you that I was one of the speakers, because I think that was during one of the times that I spoke online.
Oh,
Because I
okay.
mean, if I was there in presence that year, then I would have met you. I'm sure we would have
Oh
met
yeah,
each other.
for sure.
Yeah. So that is awesome, Sierra, that you were inspired by Rocky. I gotta tell her now.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
gotta tell her.
yeah.
She's Rocky's from she's in Sacramento, but she travels the world as well. To my knowledge, she's been over 80 countries, and that was
Amazing.
always her dream as well, was to travel the world. One of the songs she used to sing when she was young was that travel the world in the seven seas.
Mm. Oh,
Everybody's looking for something. You know that song?
I
Like,
love that song.
yeah, these things are made of these. Who am I to disagree or something like that? Yeah. So she sang that song, and that was like an affirmation for her when she was younger, and she manifested. She lives a completely pranic life today, just traveling the world on a whim wherever she wants to go next. She could
Yeah.
be in a new country every month if she wants to. With the amount of flow that just comes to her. So it's amazing because, she really inspired me. And one of the things that I loved about Rocky was it started with inspiration. It wasn't really desperation, it was inspiration.
Yeah.
It was like she said these four words, they were like magic words for her. Wouldn't it be nice?
Wouldn't it be
Wouldn't it
nice?
be nice to if I could live without food? Wait, I could do. Wouldn't that be nice?
Oh, so nice.
Wouldn't it be nice if I didn't have to do this, if I could actually do this without having to do that? Wouldn't that be nice? Wouldn't it be nice if I didn't have to feel lethargic, or if I could have abundance of energy and I still did my yoga and all these activities without feeling weight? Wouldn't that be
Mm.
nice? And so that's what inspired her to keep going. And I mean, she's on her, I think, fifth or sixth year now without solid food,
Yeah.
so it's amazing. It's
It is amazing. And like her like talking about her peanut butter story was also like so relatable because that's something like I don't do peanuts because I think they're like moldy and like super bad for the body. So I stay away from those, but like still like almonds or the macadamias. It's like there's something about like those the nuts. So like when she was talking about her peanut butter story, it was like felt so relatable, and it was like, okay, I'm not as crazy as I seem. Like maybe this is just what I need. Yeah. So yeah, it's really beautiful.
You're not crazy, and it's good to get around people. Like when I was in the Pranic World Festival, I realized, I already knew I wasn't crazy because I had already been to like certain retreats and stuff, and I knew that it was a viable way of living. But it's just nice. It's nice to get around people from all walks of life in the same place, learning the same things, there for different reasons, but on the same path,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah. It was super beautiful to connect with like-minded souls
Exactly.
in
Kindred spirit.
person.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Like-minded souls, kindred spirits in person, like in the flesh, in the physical.
Yeah.
So I know we're definitely going to meet, and I think we might have a couple of questions, before we go here, because Janice is saying, he's saying, great to hear your story. Traveling seems to be a crucial part in being able to relate to others and gain perspective and find and connect with your people. So do you feel like without traveling, without the traveling aspect of your journey that just feels so crucial for you, Cierra, like what would this life be like if you never actually went to these places?
If I never went to these places, I would never be able. I would like these last 2 years have humbled me so much. Is like this pranic life. I think is for everyone to take advantage of. I don't know if it's gonna happen in this lifetime, especially after traveling. Like where people are here to do different jobs, and that's another thing. It was really important. Like this isn't for me to push upon anyone else. Just anyone that wants to feel inspired to do it as well. And just like the fact where food can be beneficial. And actually, like, I never, when I went vegan, like, I never was like, oh my God, I hate meat eaters, or like, how dare you? Like, that's judging. I don't have that right to judge. So I was never like judging, but definitely have those vegan friends that do, and just like traveling, especially in Africa, just seeing how like they make use of like the whole animal, like they obviously eat the animal, they're doing something with its fur, and then the bones they're making like lamps and like massage tools and spoons and forks out of these bones. And it was just like, okay, like there are beautiful aspects of people doing different paths of life and whatnot. So that would really open up my mind as well, like just more in depth, like really don't judge, because like they are able to make these super beautiful items only because of most likely eating the animal. Like I highly doubt all of these were like roadkill situations. So like that was really beautiful, just to like find more non-judgment, more humblingness within. And what else? Just like seeing how other people live, and yeah, like especially through Africa, like I had to say, like the prime, some of these places, like their prime happiness came from that food that they ate, and also like if they like like I'm on a bus, we stop at these random places, and like the people are like shoving their mangoes at you, shoving whatever maybe they pop some popcorn. There was also a place where like you could eat fried baby chickens, like little like ew. And anyways, I was on this bus and this lady was just munching like with like a little like hanging out of her mouth. It was wild. But anyways, if these people weren't selling these foods and these things, it's like, well, what would they be doing? Like, they could probably be sparking more into their creativity, but then where's their money coming from? Like, it's just like this whole dynamic of how like right now how the world is living, and until the other people can find another way to make income, I think it's really opened my mind like why food is needed in certain places, and just yeah, finding like a yeah, just like a full circle of everything.
Hmm. That's actually another question, Sierra. When it comes to income, because if somebody's saying to themselves, "Wow, she's been to over 30 countries. I haven't even been to 5 countries, and I want to travel the world too, but I just don't feel like I can afford it." What advice do you have for somebody who wants to travel, but they feel like they don't have the means to travel?
Well, it's changed the mindset because we are abundant and God will provide at all times. So for one, traveling is expensive as you want to make it or not. Like you can stay at a hotel that costs $100 a night, or you can stay at a hostel which is like $10 a night. So it's like, okay, like am I willing to sacrifice sleeping with in a room with other individuals to travel 6 months versus one
Wow.
week? What do you want? And then like eventually you become so abundant where you can get your own room every single night, but having just like full trust. Like my thing was like since I was like 4 years old, God said you're gonna travel the world, and I was like I'm gonna travel the world. But I come from a single mom with no help, and I knew that it was all on my plate. I was like I'm gonna travel the world and I'm gonna do it by myself, and that's what I have done and conquered. And God will always provide in like random ways, super random ways. I was in South Africa, like at a hostel, and this girl sits next to me and goes, "Hi, I'm so and so. We're best friends." And I'm like, "Who are you?" And I was just like, excuse you, I don't know you, but okay, like tell me more. Why are you like so confident in this? And she just like told me. Next thing you know is she's like, you can come stay with me for 2 weeks. She comes, picks me. So she was here at this hostel only visiting someone that and like, long story short is like, we all met each other, not met, but we were all at the same festival together in South Africa. So she was just visiting someone that was at this hostel, which I happened to be staying at. And she picks me up the next day. I didn't stay with her for 2 weeks. I stayed with her for 7. And that was the most incredible experience of my life. Like she's such a dear, beautiful, like friend, sister to me. And it's like we did so many different things. She was like a local from South Africa, and I got to see so much. And like this is abundance. That is abundance. Have to I didn't go like I when I was on my journey, but like this just came to me. God was like, I'm gonna gift you this experience and enjoy.
Wow.
And I really did. So like there's all these different layers. just like I was in Israel for 3 months, and I ran into a friend completely randomly at a bonfire, only because I was passing to go to another festival, and the car I was riding with that I met on Facebook, I think. So we stopped at this bon. He's like, let's stop at this bonfire before we get to the festival. And I was like, okay, stop there. See a friend that I met two years ago from Costa Rica. And I was like, what are you doing here? And she's like, I'm studying Judaism. And I was like, what are you doing studying Judaism? Well, next thing you know, after the festival, I come to see her. I come to where it's called Aish, in Jerusalem. And I go see her there. I stay 5 days, I think. And she goes, there happens to be a 2-week program coming up. And I was like, yeah, I am Jewish. But I don't know any of my lineage because my family's just like super like, yeah, came to America and we just lost it all, you know? Anyways, so I'm like, okay, like I love learning about every religion, every culture. Like I want it all and take all the pieces that resonated truth with me, and then I have my own, like just like because God is everything, so He's put truth into everything. So, anyways, I'm like, okay, like I'll give it a shot, and it was a 2-week program, and they had scholarships for people. So I just like signed up to see if I could get the scholarship. I stayed 4 weeks learning about Judaism. So it's like all these different opportunities. Yeah, if you trust the universe, everything is yours. So I just trust the universe, and so there's all these different ways to really be abundant and travel the world. Also, there's a lot of work opportunities. I think I did 4 work opportunities that within the 4 of them, I think lasted about 7 weeks out of the 2 years.
Yeah.
So there's all these different opportunities. Like I know people that go traveling with less than $1,000, and I'm just like, I don't. That's wild to me, but they get it done, and yeah. So if you want something, God will always give it to you, and if it's meant for you, nothing can divinely be taken away from you.
Ooh, ooh, I love that. I love that. That's strong. I feel the conviction coming from you because you've lived it.
Yeah.
You've seen things that you might not have even thought were possible, like doors that just started to open up where there might have only been a wall, but for you there's a door. Someone else sees a wall, but you see a window. Someone else sees a stumbling block, you see a stepping stone.
Yeah.
Someone else sees an obstacle, but you see an opportunity.
Yeah.
So it's beautiful just to have that perception, just to have that perspective within the collective of you going to these places. You're going on faith. You're following all in your heart. You have faith, and you know that you'll be guided. You know you'll be protected. You know you'll be provided for wherever
Absolutely.
you are in the world. And at all times, you are looked after. I think that's beautiful.
Yeah, absolutely. I also think you should take a little bit of savings, like because like you can be because you can be traveling, but a lot of these travelers they get there, they get wherever they're at, and they get a work away right away, and they're working at like usually it's at a hostel or like a fruit farm, and then they're working for like 3 months, and then like okay, well, what did you do things while you were here? Like, did you have like so like my thing is have a little bit of income as you travel because you want to be free. You want to be able to do things. I went paragliding in Turkey. Like, will I be able to paraglide at this spot again? I don't know. Will I be coming back here? I don't know. But I'm here now, so I'm gonna take advantage of it now. So like, there's all like, so that's my big thing about traveling. Like, anything that you want, do it now because you only have the now. It's never gonna maybe come back in the future. So I definitely have, traveling. You want to like if you want to really have those type of experiences, like skydiving, bungee jumping, scuba diving, all these things. Like I also like have a little bit cushion because because like also the thing is about the universe is like the more you give, the more you receive. So like in which you don't it doesn't have to be giving in materialistic items. It could be giving a compliment. It could be giving your time, but also just like when you spend money, like when I spent money to go bungee jumping, yes, I got a beautiful experience what I wanted out of it, jumping off the cliff, but not only that, but I got to employ these workers here. I got to give like there was like this young kid in the parking lot. I pulled up and he was so cheery. He was like, "Hi guys, like park over here," and he was so happy. And he was just like, "Yeah." Throwing on it, and like this was in South Africa, and he had like mud on his face. And I was like, "Why do you have mud?" He's like, "This is our sunscreen." I was like, "Oh, amazing." and like he was just so cheerful. So like not only do I get something out of these like fun experiences, but I love the fact that I also employing these people who have jobs, and they get to also hopefully conquer their dreams as well. So that's another thing about when you're spending money to travel, like you are like you're moving the energy around in the universe.
Okay.
Like instead of like keeping it in your same town, like which there's so many places that could thrive so much more off your money, like off your energy, and you're gonna get so much more out of it versus staying put in your same city.
Yeah. No, what you're saying, you know, it's such a way of seeing things that I feel, you know, I love this perspective because just now, not too long ago, I was in Georgia.
Mm.
And, you know, I do these things every day where we come and we collectively gather and do Qigong. We do energy work every day. And afterwards, you know, I just offer people, say, hey, you know, if you felt the vibration, if you really connected, you know, and you'd really like to reflect it, you know, you can energy exchange, you can give a donation if you really felt a vibration. And I remember there was a lady, it was just not too long ago, and she sent me some in my Cash App. And I was like, oh, thank you. You know, I wrote her back saying like, thank you so much, just appreciation and gratitude. And I was asking her like, you know, what sparked that? What made her want to send me that? And she said that every now and then, this is what she said, Cierra. She said, I like to circulate money. Now, I had not heard this before. Like, this is not something that people usually say, especially in my circles, you know, in my family, in my friend group. They don't talk about circulating money, right? They talk about spending money. They talk about losing money. They talk about wasting money. They talk about, acquiring money. But circulating, that's not in their vocabulary, you know? So when she said that, you know, sometimes I like to circulate money. I just like to circulate money. It made me think, you know, it's like she's giving, but she's also being open to receive, you know, like the hands that she's giving are the same hands that will receive later on.
Absolutely.
But she's just circulating money through someone else, like through some form. So that's what you were doing when you were in those instances where you're like, yeah, I get this amazing experience, but I also get to circulate this abundance. I get to circulate this wealth, this prosperity, this you know, evidence of God's love, right? I'm circulating it around, and who knows how many lives that it touches, you know, before it comes back to me. Yeah. Wow.
Absolutely. That's how I think about when I'm traveling, just circulating it in places that are less, that don't get it abundantly like America. Okay. Or like even like the places in Europe. I like to circulate places that are less circulating.
Okay. I got you. So right before we go, Nabiha was saying a couple of things I just want to make sure that we mention here. While you were speaking, Cierra, she said, I used to travel every weekend. While my friends would go to the clubs, I would use less money than they spend in the club, staying in the same town. You don't have to have lots of money to travel. Trust the universe. Absolutely. Fear is the only thing that can hold you back. And when it comes to travel, people think it's so difficult. It's always fear around traveling. She just reiterates, trust the universe. Yeah. So absolutely. That is
she is on it.
That's the message. That's the message. So, you know, it might feel like you're stepping out of your comfort zone into your discovery zone. But, you know, even if it's unknown, you know, it can still be shown to you. Yeah. It can still be made known to you if you just have that courage. It takes bravery
and trust. A lot of
trust and faith. So wow, this has been amazing. This has been amazing, Cierra. You know, way more than I even knew. Like I love like the way that you think about the world, the way that you see things, and the way that you're growing, the path that you're going down, you know, and who knows what's coming up next, but it sounds like you spend a lot of time in the present moment. And I love your message on, if you have the opportunity, do it now. Don't wait. Don't wait till tomorrow. Do it today.
Do it now.
So if this is somebody's first time witnessing you and they just, you know, they're really drawn to you, they love your story, do you have any offerings, any services, or, you know, where would you like people to connect you with? You know, where would you like people to find you?
We can connect on Instagram. I am Sun Kitty. do host retreats that pop up sporadically when divine timing. And yeah, I am all over the world, just like popping in where God is telling me where I'm needed. So I'm just a little bit of everywhere, sprinkling the magic. Right now, I am cocooning to tap back into this my pranicness to really like. Okay, I grabbed a lot of key codes around the world, but yeah, for right now, like Instagram's probably best. I am Sun Kitty, and yeah, just wait for the magic to ripple out.
Awesome.
I'm hoping
Awesome.
I'm hoping to really go around and do like master the stage, and I would love to go around to around the world and talk to really like college students, but also just everyone. Maybe also just like industrial people, but people that are like hardcore, like stuck in the 9 to 5,
Right.
and like talk to them about like my story. Because if I can do it, you can do it. So like hopefully people can see me on the master stage one day.
It's gonna happen. It's gonna happen,
Thank
and
you.
just to be able to speak those words, you're speaking it into existence, like you're forecasting, you're foretelling the future right now. I already see you on stage. Like you have such a powerful voice. We need more of it in the world. And just like you saw Rocky, that she resonated with you, you're resonating with so many people just by speaking your truth, you know?
Thank you. As you are, you are as well. Just like thank you so much for preaching your truth. That's how I found you on Instagram. Was like you just preaching your truth and it resonating so highly with myself. I was like, yes, he's inspiring. I want to follow him. He's gonna keep me on my path and aligned with that. So that is how we are connected here on Instagram. So thank you so much, and thank you for hosting this opportunity, and for everyone that you do speak to. I love listening, popping in and listening, and I think you were actually just reading a book from the human.
Photosynthesis.
Yes,
Yeah.
101. And I don't know if you saw my question, but I was asking if that was from Ititam.
Yeah, Ellie Tom. Ellie
Ilitam.
Tom LME. So that's my other
Okay.
mentor. Yeah.
Yeah, okay, amazing. Yeah, he was one of the first people I saw on Instagram and YouTube watching his stuff.
Yeah.
Do you know who Seven, sorry, I know we're getting you off this, but do you know who Seven Circles is?
So
Jonathan?
Jonathan was in a retreat. I think he was in one or two retreats that I've been in Sedona, Arizona. I remember meeting Jonathan. Yeah.
So he was a catalyst also in my evolution.
Okay.
So yeah.
Awesome.
So I actually met up with him in San Fran because he was like the first person I met in the physical that believed in this world, and it's all because of Ellie Tom. Anyways, yeah. So thank you just so much for like sharing your magic and inspiring others.
Absolutely. We will continue.
Thank you.
You do the same.
Okay.
You do
Enjoy the day. Thank you. Thank you.
All right. Take care, Cierra.
Yeah. Thank you. Some blessings.
Take care. Much love.